Dear Diary, we have lost something important today. Trust. With the facts at hand, I must, until proven otherwise, assume that what happened was both a political assassination of a man ideologically close to me and a message to me and my government that our opponents are willing and able to use violence to eliminate whoever gets in their way. However, we do not know who these opponents are and how far their arm reaches. The danger this presents cannot be understated, not just from the fear this act, which one would aptly describe as terrorism, drives into our everyday lives, but also the danger of suspecting everyone. Who is behind it? To what length are we willing to go to fight terrorism? We must take great care not to become what we try to fight, and thus an immense burden lays on our police and intelligence forces to uncover the background of this crime, and on me to ensure that it does not tear us apart. So this crime has the potential, and we don't know yet what the actual background was. That remains to be seen, but it has the potential to, well, if it turns out to be a political assassination, it has the potential to cause fear, paranoia, and general mistrust, as well as pit people against each other. If you have an economically desperate situation, you have demographic tensions of sorts, then these things can easily get out of hand. And if it turns out that people inside the political establishment were involved, then this can become some sort of witch hunt very quickly. So, of course, on the other hand, we still have the possibility that this was indeed a single person who did that out of a personal grudge. Maybe he was mentally ill. Maybe he was desperate for other reasons. It could have been a complete coincidence that it hit the man it did. But we'll have to see. And I don't 100% trust our inspector. So I have been if I hadn't been suspicious from the university fire, I would have let it slide. But the combination of these things, I might have to see if we can get parallel investigations from multiple paths going on about this. Well, first of all, let's see what the news have to say. Obviously, Swordland Today is publishing. Yeah, of course. They are turning it against me. President Rayne, the newspaper is flat out lying here. President Rayne shut down the call for cooperation ahead of the inauguration ball, implying that he shares no values with the opposition. The president chose to make no comments. Richter has long been vocal about his democratization plans, and it seems that his demands for constitutional change will never become a reality if we do not see a Richter presidency anytime soon. It looks like the opposition will have a hard time during Rayne's term. So Swordland Today is clearly on the side of the opposition. So whatever I would have said clearly would have been spun against me. So if I had said that I'm willing to cooperate, they would have said that Richter is actually the president of the country, clearly, because he can drive my policies. If I had shut it down on a hard way, it would have been more clear. Right now, they're just lying in order to prop up their political side. So I'm going to take a note today that Swordland Today is not on my side at all. This also lays the groundwork for my upcoming meeting with Mr. Coronti, because I think this is part of, if I'm not mistaken, the Heart of Swordland conglomerate. So Swordland Today and the Swordfish Broadcasting Corporation are, I'm going to take that as clearly on the side of the opposition. MP shot, nation in shock. Swordland has, see how they spin that against me. Swordlet has been shocked by grave news today as an elected member of parliament has been shot dead in a suspected political assassination. Police sirens were heard around the clock today as the Holsworth police force increased security measures around the capital. The fact that such a violent act happened at the heart of the capital during the new president's inauguration celebration has worried many citizens. The Red Youth has reported to have promised revenge. This seems like it has the potential to be a spark that would swirl Swordland into the political violence of the 1920s. They're actually not wrong. I'm kind of... they haven't pointed out who's been shot, so apparently that's not important to them, but I am somewhat concerned, obviously, about the Red Youth, which I was a member of. So... we will have to. Do we know who's in the leadership there? It doesn't seem to be the case, but we already had problems with nationalist youth organizations causing violence, so we'll have to take care that that these organizations are not taking to the streets and expressing their anger there. So there should be, ideally, we'll see what happens, but ideally there should be a public statement from myself that this is not something that's going to be tolerated. This will be investigated, and any attempts to politicize this is going to be condemned in the harshest way. Let me put it that way. So obviously an opportunity for everybody to try to draw political capital out of the tragic death of a good man. Now, the things obviously have changed because the independents are going to have a new spokesman. So we've got Mansoon Leke. I'm going to go with Leek. So Mansoon Leek is a Swordish politician of Bludish descent. Okay, interesting. A member of the Assembly and the current leader of the Independents. He was a leader of the pro-Bludish Workers' Party between 48 and 49. He's a strong advocate for the rights of religious and ethnic minorities. Okay, understandable. He has had an education at the Holsworth University, faced political problems due to his background and his left-leaning views, which forced him to leave school without finishing the degree. He went to Dare and got a degree in Mercopian history. He returned to his hometown and campaigned to organize the minority and the new democratic political movement, invited to join the militant Bludish Freedom Front. He heavily protested against the call for full-scale insurgency in the region of Bergia, arguing that violence would only result in more violence. Okay, I'm already liking this man. He speaks my mind. In 48, he joined the Workers' Party of Bludia. The same year, he was elected to be the leader of the party and ran as a presidential candidate in 49 elections. He coined the slogan, "Peace in Bludia, peace in Swordland, peace in the world." He got 6% of the general vote, failing to pass the threshold. He later resigned from his position despite protests from his own party and ran as an independent in 53 elections to bypass the threshold and was elected as member of the Assembly. So this is a man I think we can work with. We can work with well. How can I tick off this symbol here? Okay, now it's gone. Okay, so I think we can work with him reasonably well because he has relatively similar ideas to my own. So that aside. After these tragic events, let's see what's up next. Obviously, we're going to read the reports and see if there's any initial findings, and then we'll have an emergency meeting in the Situation Room where, well, I think we're obviously going to have to respond to this. So the response is going to be, ideally, we'll see what we get. I'm just organizing my own mind here. Response should be... to say that we strongly condemn any kind of political violence. We will crack down very hard on anyone who tries to politicize this act or to try to take political profit out of this act and frame it as or point out that it is a personal tragedy and we have lost a good man and we should be, instead of expressing our anger in the streets, we should be mourning. and at the same time, also like again point out that we will find who was responsible for this, and he will be whoever did whoever is. If there's anyone behind it, they will be brought in front of a court and judged accordingly. And that hopefully may keep that under wraps. But we will see. We will see what comes out of it, and if we can keep that from spiraling into further problems. So we already had some problems with police presence and security, so don't want to make it any worse. Okay, increased security measures at the capital have been heightened after the murder of Bernhard Circus. The mayor of Holsord reports that everything is under control. Security around the Maroon Palace has been increased with the combined efforts of the Holsord Police Department and the Presidential Guard. Additionally, the entrance procedures to the palace are being revised with advice from security professionals. Police Chief Karl Greiser reported that an investigation has been launched on the murder of Bernhard Circus. Yes. I would love to have more than just the police chief on this, but we will see. I don't know how impartial he is, but we will find. I guess we will find out. We'll see what this brings. So let's head to the emergency meeting in the Maroon Palace. The mood in the Situation Room was gloomy. My cabinet members were gathered to discuss the shooting outside the palace. Lilias presented the initial report. So we've got Lilias Graf, Nia Morgner, my Minister of Justice. She's a good one. I've got Peter, obviously. I've got Josef, the Defense Minister. Good to have him here because depending on how far this goes, we might need his assistance as well. And we've got Lucien, who is who's generally not emotional about these sort of things and always a great voice to have, to say the things that others dare not say. So that's a good group to have. Let's see where we're going with this. Bernhard Circus was shot dead at 9:03 p.m. in front of the palace gates. He was an elected independent member of assembly and, as you know, a famous communist. Yes, I know. I was one of the last people to actually talk to him. She spat the last word out with some distaste. Lilias, we're going to have to talk about that. I didn't realize she was that. And it's interesting because she was actually the one advocating for more for the poor, and for investments that would directly impact the northern state and the poor people there. At the same time, she clearly dislikes communism. So. Well, she doesn't have to like it, but as long as she remains loyal to her position, we'll see. The guards at the scene were 50 meters away and immediately took action by responding and killing the assailant, who was identified as a member of the nationalist organization, the Young Swords. So, the Young Swords, a right-wing nationalist political organization with connections to a number of armed attacks against the Swedish government. A youth organization that has close ties to the National Front Party. Often it's been associated with the Black Battalion and been linked to the party's more violent wing. I'm not entirely certain what the Black Battalion was. I think it's been mentioned before, but it doesn't have a link on it. So I would generally assume that it sounds like some form of paramilitary death squads or something. The organization often hides behind these claims by highlighting its cultural works. What claims? Close ties to, maybe was behind the National Front Party in general. It was formed by General Luderin in 1927, rising in popularity and participating as a combatant in the Civil War. It often clashed with other left-wing groups, primarily with Ricardists, and for a brief period engaged with Solist forces. Initially journalists, but later historians identified the entity to have activities corresponding to that of a death squad. Yes, that sounds like it. A staunchly pan-swordist organization. In the early 1930s, the Young Swords have managed to extend their area of operations into Swordish-speaking post-revolutionary Valksland. Interesting. Most people suspect the Young Swords to be part of the Swordish Old Guards, and there seems some inconclusive reports that both the Holsord police and the Supreme Court had dealings with them. See, that's exactly what I was thinking. Obviously Supreme Court, but I did have. That's why I do need someone impartial outside the police force to look into this, because I have a suspicion that that there's a lot more behind this. So it smacks of revolutionary attempts once more. Interesting that they are operating as a terrorist organization inside Valksland as well. So we might have some international assistance in dealing with these people. So they need to go. We cannot tolerate political assassinations within the country, and they will need to be lawfully dealt with, not in the sense of there are probably a few things we can do. We can probably just prohibit it, which is going to which needs a legal basis. So because we are going to run into problems with the NFP, obviously, but then again they only have 40 seats. That said, I don't know how far their reach is within the assembly when it comes ideologically. So we might actually have a right wing inside the USP which sympathizes with the NFP. So there might be quite a bit more than just the 40 in here. I think it's unlikely that these guys are going to have a moderate wing. It sounds like your typical nationalist party with a violent extra parliamentary organization to further basically to create an atmosphere conducive to what they want. Because obviously the nationalists want to point out that the security situation is bad, the government isn't able to take care of the country, and terrorists, which is everyone except for themselves, want to destroy our way of life, and the only one who can protect us from the terrorists are the nationalists, because they are the only one who are brave enough to step up and deal with all these undesirables. That's generally how the playbook goes. And obviously, as the start of the kicking off this sort of thing by assassinating opponents, trying to trigger violence. One other politically opportune thing is that once you've got large-scale demonstrations going, you bring agents into which cause death on both sides, and just try to turn it into violence, which would then allow a breakdown and takeover of the government. So yeah, these guys need to be dealt with. I'm going to take a note of that. The president and his family were unharmed. Yes, and we were unharmed, although I did have my misgivings there as that went down. But yeah, we were unharmed. It happened outside. It happened outside the ball. 50 meters away. That is. It's interesting that they immediately killed him. That is another thing that sort of rubbed me a little bit the wrong way when it happened. I was wondering how far away from the guards that was. So 50 meters. I'm not an expert on firearms or like practiced in firearms, but I mean I would assume 50 meters to be a distance at which somebody could be taken out with a long rifle. That I would assume the guards were armed with, but I don't know how busy the area was. I mean, this wasn't a deserted place, right? This was a relatively busy night. There would have been foot traffic and everything. So did they run up to him and take him down point blank? Did they? What I'm trying to say is this sounds like there was a considerable risk of collateral damage involved. And it could be that they just don't care, because gunman is gunman. Gunman needs to go. That's their job. They're guards. But it could also be, there's at least a relatively low percentage chance that they had an interest in making sure that he didn't talk. But obviously, I mean, we know who's behind it. So they will of course claim that he was he was, how is it usually framed? like a confused lone gunman or something? Okay, let's see. Okay. I wasn't the target. Yeah, no. No. Why Bernard Circus? What's relatively obvious, because he was a communist, and like I just described, them and their political wing of the National Party, obviously a National Front or whatever it was called, obviously are trying to conduct acts of terrorism in order to weaken the state. What were the motivations? Yeah, I'm pretty clear about that as well. Well, if I'm going to be nitpicky, it is absolutely unacceptable that an MP gets shot anywhere, not just near the palace. Sorry, I couldn't help it. It doesn't make it any better if they shoot him in his home. But it's the closest to. I mean, these are not particularly sensible questions. I'm going to overlook the. I'm going to overlook this one. Yes, it is absolutely unacceptable. I agree. We are reevaluating our security measures. That's not the key here, Lilias. The recession has affected my ministry negatively. Look, this is not a security failure, right? We were not necessarily a security failure. If we had the tightest security imaginable, I don't know if metal detectors existed in the 50s. I don't think they did. But like you could say, like everyone who wants to enter the area needs to be patted down or something. Let's say that, right? Like you have the tightest security measures imaginable. Everybody needs to provide ID who gets within 200 meters of the Maroon Palace or of the event. He would have simply shot him when he was buying his bread in the morning, right? So no, it is not a security failure. That's not the key here. But obviously she is Minister of Interior, so the recession has affected her ministry negatively. Yeah, yours and everybody else's, Lilias. The security is not the root cause. Security is a countermeasure. The root cause is both the recession, because economic hardship emboldens extremists and gives them influx of disillusioned people. And it is a problem of, obviously extremist organization with known violent tendencies being allowed to exist within the country. So that sort of ideology needs to be dealt with. This may well create a dangerous atmosphere where the left versus right political violence of the 20s could spark once again. I agree, Lucian. I absolutely agree, which is what I said earlier. We need to make sure that we keep a lid on this and condemn extremism from all sides. So this is a position, despite the fact that I would sympathize with the Red Youth for being outraged about this. At the same time, there will not be political violence, neither from them nor from the Young Swords. So I do have to maintain a neutral stance here, because allowing political violence leads to, violent revolution and civil war, and we can't have that. We already had that, and we are in a darn recession, so no, not happening. A return to those days would be devastating. The coups are the reason why our country stagnated for a decade. Yes and no. It's also part of the political actions of those who came into power after the coup, but yes, it's a large part of it. Yeah, you can't have continuity of government if you have extreme sides basically violently deposing each other. The Minister of Justice side. I really want to know what she has to say. From what I remember, let's have a quick look again. She was a good one. Yeah, she was like the strong anti-corruption campaigner. So one of the most experienced attorneys. Okay, let's see what she has to say. I'm very curious. The Red Youth has condemned the killing, but didn't stop there. They promised revenge. And that needs to be countered. Yes, I completely agree with her here. Let's see. This will in turn spark further aggression from the young swords. The whole cycle started because Bernard Circus expressed his views. We can't simply look away. No. The cycle did not start because he expressed his views. I vehemently reject that statement. I think I know what she means. That this was the trigger, but it is not the cause. Because the logical consequence would then be to say you shall not be allowed to express political views that could trigger somebody to assassinate you. That under that same argument, you could say that women aren't allowed to wear short skirts next to men because it could trigger them to do things. No, the problem is the person who does the thing, right? We have to crack down on the idea that so they have to be made to understand that that revenge is not acceptable, and they will be persecuted in the same way that the young swords will be persecuted for violence that they preach or that they enact. Nia had always been one of the only members of the Justice Ministry truly deserving of the name. She had survived countless attacks on her character while fighting corruption within the ministry, and rising to power had only compounded her sense of moral duty. I like I said, I like her. Freedom of expression is part of our constitution. We can't have anyone, let alone an MP, shot for voicing different opinions. Yes. So I think she that's what she meant. Like she didn't say that it started because he expressed his views. It started, it was triggered, or you could almost say by him express. No, I still dislike the sentence. I think, but what she's saying is, she obviously meant something else. She meant that violent shutdown of non-violent views. Although Bernard had been speaking about revolution, but speaking about it is one thing, and actually starting is another. So there are fine lines here. But yeah, I absolutely agree, and I think she means the same thing that I do. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we can fully agree we need to protect freedom of speech. I am on board with that. We could no, we don't criticize the millennialist ideology, obviously. The nationalist young swords have overstepped, and they must face consequences for such an extreme action. We also don't practice collective punishment. So just because an organization has certain views that disagree with things, we can't necessarily, destroy, lock everyone up, right? Those who actually are guilty of violent actions need to be dealt with. That said, the young swords have a history of violence and of doing things that are outside the confines, or calling for things that are outside the confines of free speech. So I would say, we'll need to deal with them. That said, we do need to protect the freedom of speech as well. I agree with both of these statements, but I think I agree with the first one more. All laws do for a good reason. Silencing voices only results in fear and stagnation inside society. I agree. We had that before and know very well how it was. Yes, we do. I hear your concerns. Our police do their best to uphold the rights of our citizens. We will prevent such an act from happening again by making sure our security measures are reevaluated. Again, Lilias, no. I understand where you're coming from. That and to a degree, you have a point that the police need to prevent that by, it's not security measures, it's effectively counterinsurgency that we need to do here at this point. So the police need to find those who are breaking the law and arrest them. It's as simple as that. and ensure that regardless of their political affiliation, everybody is clear that you can say controversial things, but you cannot start shooting people. All right. Minister of Defense Josef Lancea grunted in approval. He towered over the rest of us in full military uniform, his many war medals conspicuously on display. I did have a note about the defense. Let me quickly look that up. Hang on. Okay, I cannot remember. And searching, as I just found out, thank you for the comment to the comments, by the way, who mentioned that. If you type into the search box on the codex, it actually progresses the thing here. So it's a bug in the game. So I can't search in the codex while discussions are going on. But from my notes, the Minister of Defense and the Chief of Staff had very different views. And I think from memory, we were supposed to be supporting the Minister of Defense. Anyway, he says, agreed, ma'am. Our gendarmerie will also help boost security in the rural areas where possible. There might be more violence to come. What's Scott Lucian got to say? We should refrain from making the issue a political one from the start. It will only add fuel to the fire. Good man. That is exactly what I'm thinking of. We need to focus on the personal tragedy, condemn political violence, and state clearly that we will find and arrest anyone who is behind this and who has broken the law, and also make it very clear that further violence will not be tolerated regardless of from which side it comes. We need to diffuse the situation, yes. We need to calm the situation. Our government is capable to maintain security. Our job will be to reduce tensions. Yeah, agreed. Several police cars rushed past the Maroon Palace and everyone went silent. That's what I was talking about. No? That's the fear. Because see, this is what terrorism is all about, right? It's about terrorizing. It's about sowing fear. And we have to also be careful not to overreact on the whole thing. Regardless, full investigation into all involved parties is underway. We will find the subversives and punish them soon enough. Okay? Yeah, that's what I'm asking of you, Lilias. I'll do my best to help coordinate the administrative tasks. Good job, Peter. Justice will be served and the rule of law will return to this country stronger than ever. Good job, Nia. I agree. Only if we stay vigilant as a country. Must think about the upcoming budget. That's your angle, isn't it? You want to have an increase. Of course it is. I mean, it's understandable, but yeah, I can. It's a little bit ham-fisted, isn't it? Do try to be a bit more subtle, won't you? Of course, he wants an increased budget for the military. So this is exactly the sort of political. This is literally the sort of political advantage taking that I was about to condemn. So don't make it difficult. Okay. Yeah. It's too soon to jump to conclusions. Reckless acts will have dire consequences. Yes, this was one. It is a dangerous situation, but we don't diffuse this by violent crackdowns, because this is pretty literally what the terrorists want. They want us to put on the screws. They want us to crack down on rights. They want us to focus on whack-a-moling the threat, the sort of nebulous threat, and effectively as a country come to a state of fear. So either it's too soon to jump to conclusions, or we should not lose sight of our real political goals, like the constitutional reforms, which is true, but not necessarily pertinent to the current situation. Well, it is in the way that if we focus simply on counterinsurgency with these things, then we'll end up bringing the thing that we're trying to avoid into or realizing the thing that we're trying to avoid on the path that we're taking. There's a Master Uguay quote in here, but I can't assemble it in my head. One often finds his something on the path one sets to avoid it. Something like that. It was a good quote. All right, too soon to jump to conclusions. Reckless acts will have dire consequences. Yeah. Agreed. We need to be patient until we have the full picture. Because also we still don't know who's behind this, right? Despite the fact that he was from the Young Swords, despite the fact that they have a history of political violence, there is still a possibility that, I don't know, he had an affair with the man's wife or something. Nobody knows, right? So it could still be personal. He could have simply been, just mentally ill, driven into despair by the current situation. Doesn't excuse it, but it could be that there's no larger conspiracy behind it. So let's not jump into those conclusions. Lucian took some notes after checking the latest newspapers and reports. It seems that the tension between the communists and nationalists will escalate further. Okay, what you got? It will be very difficult to pass any meaningful change if there's chaos in the country. I agree. Okay. Can't fix the recession if there isn't stability. It's a chicken and egg problem, right? The recession or the economic woes are the root cause for the instability, or one of the root causes for the instability. Obviously, political partisanship and extremism are the other, but they generally don't have breeding grounds if everyone is doing well and is too busy raising a family, living in a house, and buying consumer goods. Whereas if everyone's hungry, angry, and looking for someone to blame, that's where extremism flourishes, because you can use the common demagoguery of blaming the other side. So what comes first, right? What do we fix first? Obviously, lack of stability is having negative economic impacts as well, because it's going to impact foreign investments. It's going to drive it's going to reduce private investment and entrepreneurship and all these kind of things. We can totally pass a constitutional reform in this atmosphere. That's not the issue. We'll make it through this and deliver our promises. Can't fix the recession if there isn't stability. Can we fix the recession if we can't things? So we have to keep things under wraps, yes. We have to prevent this from escalating, because if we have violence in the streets, then we're not getting anywhere. At the same time, we need to fix the recession in order to get the stability as well. So it has to be a sort of balancing act in that. This is just a non-sentence. So that's a politically vapid statement. Like, just hang in there, it'll all get better. It could as well be a cat poster. No, we can't fix the recession if there's instability. You're right, we need to trust our ministers to stabilize the situation if it comes to it. Trust is going to be in short supply around here, my friend. This will be it for today. We will convene again soon. Thank you all and keep us updated. Meeting concluded and the ministers left the room with concerned looks. It was hard to anticipate what would happen next. And we've got one news article that we can, from the Lochhaven Times. Okay, now we'll see where they stand. This is actually a valid, it's kind of cynical to see it that way, but it is an opportunity to see how the press reacts and how politicized they are. So the Lochhaven Times, murder at the palace, breaking news. Bernard Circus, a prominent independent MP known for his communist romanticism, I see where you're going, has been murdered, leaving the Maroon Palace grounds after the inauguration ball of Anton Rayne. Reports indicate a politically motivated assault by the far-right nationalists of the Young Swords. Shocking photographs have been leaked to the press showing blood-dripped stairs of the Maroon Palace. Okay, the Lochhaven Times is a bit sensationalist. Read by the people who think they ought to run the country. We heavily condemn this sort of political violence. This is the very cycle the president must break with reforms. But they have their heart in the right place. We could have done without the shocking photographs that have been leaked. But And the communist romanticism is a bit disparaging as well, but yeah. So that would be the Lachhaven Times. And after that, we shall continue in the next episode, because I think that is it. We still have to... have we seen more economic changes? Hang on, where were we? Has it gone slightly down again? I really dislike not having... I know I'm harping on about this, but not having an... since we're talking about capital crimes here, not having a bloody legend and numbers on your charts should be punishable by, I don't know, excommunication or something. Yeah. So I will have to look it up. But I think we were down here, so we made it up a little bit, and then the recent instability obviously has nicked us down again. All right, that'll be it for this episode. We will see how the instability proceeds from here. The high-speed railway is under construction still. It's going to take a while, and with that, that'll be it for today.